This video is not a review of Super Mario 64, Sunshine, or Odyssey. I'm not saying that Super Mario 64 is better than the aforementioned games. Instead, in this video, I will be taking a look at the single most overlooked element of Super Mario 64. An element that not only sets Super Mario 64 apart from the other two games, but in my opinion plays a major role in what made Super Mario 64 a classic. Now, of course, the other two games mentioned have their fair share of advantages over Super Mario 64, such as Super Mario Sunshine debatably having the best controls in any 3D Mario game, or Super Mario Odyssey with its surprisingly charming story for a Mario game. And now to get to that thing I was talking about. If there is one word that describes Super Mario 64, that would be freedom. Super Mario 64 gives you the freedom to approach the game however you would like, and this freedom represents itself in so many aspects of the game. At first you might be thinking that I'm talking about the freedom of being able to go after any star you want. As in, when you are thrown into Bomb Bomb Battlefield, the first star most people go to is fighting King Bob-omb, because that's what the star's description says at the beginning of the level. But the truth is that you don't have to get that star. You can get the one that is guarded by Miyamoto's neighborhood dog. Now you might be thinking, what's the big deal? It's just one star. Well,
the answer is yes and no.
Once you get that star, two areas open up. You can either go to the Princess Secret Slide or Whomp's Fortress. Once you get two additional stars, however, two more levels open up, Jolly Roger Bay and Cool Cool Mountain. So essentially, in less than 10 minutes, you are able to play two bonus areas, a grass field area, a snow mountain area, an underwater level, and finally a fortress level. The game has a total of 120 stars, and for the most part, you can get any 70 stars of the 120 stars. But to finally get to my point, which was freedom, this diverse set of levels gives the player another type of freedom, and it's the ability that if there is a level that you don't particularly like, you can just skip it. You just need 70 stars to fight Bowser. You don't like Rainbow Ride? You can skip the level. You find Tick-Tock Clock with its weird time mechanic a pain in the ass? You can get to Bowser without ever seeing those levels. In fact, you can skip like any 5 out of the 15 levels in the game if you so choose. The only exception being Bomb Bomb Battlefield because it's the first level, and Dire Dire Docks because you need to sink Bowser's battleship before you face him. Yes, that's actually what you do in this level, believe it or not. This is a thing that got worse with Super Mario Sunshine, and somehow, for me at least, even worse in Odyssey. In Super Mario Sunshine, not only are there like half the levels of Super Mario 64, well, 9 total levels if you want to count Delfino Plaza and the final level, but you have to, whether you like it or not, play all the actual levels. And not only do you have to play them, you have to get to and beat the 7th episode of every level. So what does that mean? It means that for the most part, every playthrough of Super Mario Sunshine will look similar to the one before it. It was bad enough that all the levels are beach-inspired levels. Now you're telling me that I have to get the stars in a specific order? Just why? Adding small story bits that are supposed to make the game feel alive is not worth the loss of freedom that Super Mario 64 offered, if you ask me. Next up is Mario Odyssey. Now, while Mario Odyssey may seem to be better in this regard, I mean, it has a more diverse set of stages, and when you get to a stage, sure, there's a story objective that you have to complete, but for the most part, you can go about getting any of the stars in the level until you reach the required number of stars to progress. Where Super Mario Odyssey fails, however, is that Super Mario Sunshine allowed you to unlock most of the game's levels relatively quickly. And this is where I have to say that this varies from person to person, but personally, I greatly value the freedom that comes with being able to play whatever level I want as soon as possible. And while Sunshine has just one theme, I at least get to switch between the stages relatively early when compared to Super Mario Odyssey. The Mario Odyssey approach, I mean, the developers wanted to tell a story, I guess, but they could have let us select any of the levels and then just have Bowser appear in that level. It wouldn't make that much sense story-wise, but this is a game about a plumber rescuing the princess of the Toad Kingdom from a turtle. So why not? It sure would have made the game a hell of a lot more fun. And overall, while I still enjoy Mario Sunshine and Odyssey for the plenty of other things they offer, where it counts, Super Mario 64, in my opinion, has them beat. Freedom is one of the primary reasons I enjoy collectathons. Even other ones, like Spyro for example, and even Crash Bandicoot, a game that isn't exactly a collectathon, but does a better job than both Sunshine and Odyssey. In Spyro 2, for example, after beating the first level, the game gives you access to 2 other levels immediately, and it's only a matter of time before you quickly have access to over 5 levels. It does all that without affecting the story, something I wish Odyssey did. Next up is Crash. In Crash 3 Warped, you don't have to do anything. You are just immediately given the choice between 5 levels. I mean, sure, you have to beat all of them to progress the game, but at least you got to choose the order that you want to beat them in. Every genre of games has something that makes it special. Heavy story games like Metal Gear excel at character building, but because of the story, the path to completing the game is very rigid in one way or another. And just like with the Phantom Pain, if you choose to open up the world, the game will lose that intense story aspect, where you can blow people's mind when you reveal something. As for collectathons, they do something very unique. They essentially give you a playground that might not be as big as an open world game, but the difference is that you can play the game and complete it however you want. You end up looking at a level like a skateboarder looks at an arena. So many endless choices on how to complete a level. And this, at least to me, is what makes collectathons special. Back to Super Mario 64. Here are a few examples of what I'm talking about. In Hazy Maze Cave, this is how you are supposed to get the star, but you can also get it this way. In Tall Tall Mountain, you are supposed to use the cannon, but did you also know that you can get the star by performing a long jump? The same thing applies in Lethal Lava Land, and so many more examples that it's not even funny. This does not only apply to the stars, it also applies to stage hazard and shortcuts as well. In Rainbow Ride, the beginning that everybody dreads, you can simply skip it by turning the camera and performing a long jump. Now, that being said, one could make an argument that this is bad level design, and in a sense, it is. I mean, if I can get some of those stars not by how the game wants me to, then it's badly designed, right? While that might be true in a sense, in another sense, this just adds another layer of the level of freedom that Super Mario 64 offers. That even when it comes to collecting the main trinkets in the game allows you to be creative. It gives you the freedom in which stages you want to play, how you want to play them, which stars you want to get, and even how you want to get most of them. Super Mario 64 is, if you will, the symphony of the night of 3D Mario games. Being in Peach's castle is like being in Dracula's castle as Alucard. One final point I want to touch on, because I know people will bring this up, and it's regarding the fact that you can skip a lot of levels in Super Mario 64 if you don't like them. Now, an argument I can imagine occurring is that if you would want to skip a level in a game, then that means the level is not that good. I don't buy this for 2 reasons. The first being the fact that I have always believed that when a player decides to go for 100%, then the game has every right to throw whatever it wants at the player, because this means the developers are allowed to experiment, to know what to include in a sequel perhaps, or not to include in a sequel. Another reason is because whatever you don't have to play, I would consider to be extra content. Nowadays, that stuff will be DLC. Anyways, that is the reason why I don't give games like Spyro 3 a lot of shit, because while the game has a lot of mini games that I'm not particularly fond of, at the same time, the game gives me a lot of freedom in picking what I want to play and what I don't want to play, which is why I find it odd to bitch about stuff like that, because it's better than the alternative where I have to play most of the levels in the same exact order every time, or have to get the same stars in the same exact order every time, which becomes a problem if there's a star I particularly hate or a level that I really just don't want to play. Like I don't want to play a lava level now. Leave me alone. The dominating element of freedom. It is why Super Mario 64 is a special game and a classic one at that. Thank you guys for watching. Do you agree or disagree? Do you want me to make a video on what makes Sunshine and Odyssey special? Please let me know in the comments below. With that being said, for those of you who are watching wherever you may be in this world, thank you guys for watching and stay alive until the next video.